Hello, folks, and welcome to the new edition of podcast from the Pitlane. And today we are reviewing Formula One Pirelli Gran Premio del Made in Italy del Emilia Romagna 2021.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Or let's just say Imola Grand Prix. I think that is a way much
Imola
better,
GP.
right? So,
It will be quite simple.
so we have had finally a race weekend after 3 weeks after the Bahrain Grand Prix. It has been quite a long wait, and man, that was some good race. Initial thoughts, guys.
I mean, I was stunned. The way it started and the way it ended. It was full pack, powerful performance from everybody. It was a blockbuster race, actually. At the starting, I felt like it will be like Turkey 2020. The rain was still in the air, and they were predicting that there will be more rain in mid race too. But in the end, it was a great race.
Paaji.
Seriously. Racing in the rain is just like a cherry on the cake.
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly.
Only the hardest and the smartest survive. And we have seen that who survived and who didn't. Lot of mistakes happened. Lot of mistakes from the legends happened. But at the end of the day, amazing race, amazing weekend.
Exactly. A quick race rundown for you guys. So these were the top 10 drivers: Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris, Leclerc, Sainz, Ricardo, Stroll, Gasly, Raikkonen, and Esteban Ocon. So you can guess it quite well since I'm finally wearing my Ferrari cap. That Ferrari have performed brilliantly. P4 and P5, brilliant job from the Scuderia in Italy. So we'll get on to that later. But the first and foremost, incidents. I'm saying plural because a lot of incidents came into formation lab. The rain has just started to fall, and there were legends going off the track. Fernando Alonso went off the chicane and damaged his front wing. At that moment, I realized, man, this would be some good race. There was a lot of moments, and especially Aston Martin. They had severe brake issues with both Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel, which eventually
Brake issues were there since FP1, I guess. And they didn't resolve it by the time.
exactly. So that eventually costed Sebastian Vettel's grid place, and he had to start from pit lane. Another out of position start from poor Seb. His Aston Martin career hasn't gone to the dream start.
For someone who has to prove that he is a four-time world champion, and he wasn't the one who deserved to be treated the way Ferrari treated him the last year. But right now he's in a lot of bad condition. He still hasn't been comfortable with the car. He's still struggling with the car and hasn't scored a single point in
Yeah.
two of the race. So it's tough for him. We hope that he gets point in the next one. Let's see.
Paji, your thoughts?
Sebastian, again, he's an amazing driver, a contender one. We have seen him racing in a very crucial condition. We always remember Turkish Grand Prix, starting down from the total down and coming down to the podium as amazing, seriously, and hope for the best. Nothing more we can say about it. It's just a mechanical issue. Any, it can come down from like out of nowhere.
And plus, as I said, he's not comfortable with the car yet. He's still
Yeah.
trying to manage it. He's still trying to get comfortable with the new car, with the new systems and everything. So it will take time, but he'll catch up to it. He'll be there.
And that's
I'm
what
sure.
he's known for, guys. The
Yeah.
adaptable Sebastian Vettel. If he could survive that bad spell at Ferrari, he could definitely do better. Although Otmar Safnauer has been complaining a lot recently that the new aero rags have negatively impacted the low rake cars, so-called green Mercedes. But yeah, so we'll see that protest is withheld or not. But
Actually, Aston Martin's own hype is biting in their ass right now. Nothing else is happening. They hype too much for their cars. They hype everything that they are gonna be on the podium this year. They're gonna win races and everything. They hype too much,
that hasn't.
and that's why they are just yeah. That hasn't happened in a single race. Stroll is just barely managing to try get the points. Sebastian Vettel is still trying to get comfortable with the car, and Team Principal is just fighting with the rules. Nothing else is happening there. He's just trying to, tell FIA that you are wrong, I am right. My team is great. Your rules are just nothing but just a barrel in my road. That's it. And it's not the great. We're just, as I said, he's hype. They hype too much. Aston Martin.
After this, there was a bit of a gamble from four cars on the grid. Ocon bought the Haas and Pierre Gasly starting on full wets, while the rest of the grid was intermediates. That took some balls to do that, right?
Actually, as I said, that they were still predicting that there will be more rain in the race. Well, as we all said, you texted me that I don't think the rain's gonna be there. It's just gonna pass away from the race track, and it will be just some drizzle in between. That's it. In the starting of the race, and that's the thing happened. If you remember Gasly's radio com in about second or third lap, I don't remember the lap exactly. And at the radio, they said that more rain is coming,
Yeah,
and they said that more rain is coming, and that never happened in the race,
actually,
and so that's why.
right from the formation lap, what was happening is first sector was pretty wet. There was standing water and puddles all around. But after, I think, towards the end of the second sector and third sector was actually so dry. It was bone dry. I mean, if you are on intermediates, you would burn through your tires, and full wets are a totally different story, right? So that was a big gamble by those teams. So what do you think about it, Paji?
No, exactly. Stewart was also saying that before even starting down to grid position, before getting down to the grids as well, Stewart was saying that half of the track is wet, and
Exactly.
other half is like dry to normal. So wet strategy was like okay, didn't work for a few laps, but it ended up getting down from a guy who was standing down in top five position to bottom five position.
But yeah,
So
exactly.
And
that was a bit of a heavy gamble there.
yeah, and after this, after the turn one shenanigans between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, yeah, that was good. That was so good. Finally, we are getting to see the wheel-to-wheel battle between Lewis.
Finally, we saw that aggressive Max Verstappen.
His launch was so perfect. Initially, he was in first gear. As soon as there was three red lights, he switched to two.
He switched second gear, and then he picked up the car. Was phenomenal.
I mean, that was not only smart, but that could have been backfired. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not sure that if a car could go in anti-stall in second gear. I'm not sure about it. But if that was the case, it would have ruined his
But,
victory. I'm not sure if it could
this
go.
second gear start strategy is like it's just like it works. It works in rain condition. When it's rainy, it works. Although you have to manage your anti-stall, but still, as you got the pace, it works phenomenal. And the pace Verstappen get down in 450 meters, he was like two positions up
Yeah, I mean,
within 450 meters.
such a minimal wheel spin as compared to Paris.
Exactly,
Paris is a lot
exactly,
of.
exactly.
He had a
If you
terrible
remember,
wheel spin.
if you remember back in 2020 Turkish Grand Prix, similar condition, Daniel Ricciardo took the same situation, the same strategy, and he moved 2 to 3 places again.
It was if it
In the
wasn't
Yeah,
very
two
first
to three
spot.
position
if
on
it
the first lap. Yeah,
if it wasn't for Esteban Ocon and Valtteri Bottas around the outside in Turkish Grand Prix, he would have actually got even two more. So
yeah.
Exactly,
early
exactly.
starts are
Uh,
amazing by these drivers. But in comparison of our top three drivers, Hamilton had a decent start. as compared to Sergio Perez. Charles Leclerc
Yeah.
immediately capitalized on that Perez's poor start, and Max was coming down the road. And as soon as Lewis started to cover Sergio Perez, Max had his opening and he went through in such a small gap. I think half of his wheel was on the grass. So even that was risky. I was having Malaysia 2017 recaps, both the Ferraris colliding. I was
Colliding. Yeah.
something like that didn't happen. So yeah, that was very brave from Max Verstappen.
That's true.
Yeah, Max was
I'm
thinking
happy
that
because
if I want to win this race, this is my chance, and this the chance I have to take it. Even if it's a risk, if it's the biggest risk, he was gonna take it no matter what, and that's what he did. He
exactly.
took that risk and and he won the race. That's what he wanted. He last in the last race he said that I would have won. If they let me 5 second penalty, I would have won the race, or I would have kept the gap more than 5 seconds and all that. He was angry at himself at the time that he couldn't win the race, and then this situation and at the P3 exactly behind Lewis Hamilton, he thought that this is my chance. This is the chance I have to take it at the first lap. If I am not ahead of Lewis Hamilton, I'm not going to win the race. And that's what he did. He get ahead of Lewis Hamilton and won the race.
Exactly, man, exactly. And soon after the start, we had our first major incident of the race. Nicholas Latifi crashing out, and guess who was involved? Lord Nikita Mazepin himself. Although today I think he wasn't that much at fault. He didn't had anywhere to go, but still, why is always this guy on the first incident of the race? Your thoughts?
It's
Two
just
down, 21 to go. Two down, 21 to go.
yeah,
I mean, Nikita's. I mean, his.
Let's hope he loses with the tag.
I mean, after that, Schumacher also spun. He was on wets. He spun and broke his front wing. And throughout the race, I hadn't seen Nikita Mazepin spinning. But right at the end, there was a spinning ass. I mean, bam! Here we go. I was afraid that one of my predictions was gonna come wrong, but yeah, he didn't disappoint.
Kudos to the guy.
Sorry for the random interruptions. Thanks to Zoom, there was a bit of cut. So yeah, resuming the discussion, uh, Mick Schumacher spinning and breaking his front wing, which caused pit lane to be closed because the debris was right in pit exit. So
Yeah.
poor Mick had to do 2 laps without his front wing just to get it changed. And as soon as he came into the pits, the safety car was ending. I mean, how unlucky a guy could be.
yeah, and Haas Gunther Steiner says that Haas drivers gonna spin in this season. They're gonna be new Sabinala champions. They they might not score a point in a real race, but they are gonna score many points in Sabinala. He said that they are gonna spin very, very much in this season in the latest interview. So it's gonna happen. We are gonna see it again in the next race, again in the next to next one race, and we're gonna see many of the spins from the Haas.
Paaji, what are your thoughts?
Nothing much because there's not a single debris, but a whole front wing was there at the pit exit. So, okay, that needs to be closed out. But still, there was a lot of opportunity if considering a hypothetical situation, if we didn't get a spin and everything went well, there was a good opportunity for people who to switch down if the wets uh, like Alpha Tauri, they knew by the time that wets aren't working within the condition, so they had a good chance to switch to intermediates or on some soft, obviously not soft or mediums, but intermediates. But there could have been a different scenario to the race
Yeah,
if we go down to the hypothetical situation. That's the thing.
In fact, what Akshat writes just said that Haas could be new Sabinala champions. There is a new concept in my mind. What we'll do is from the next weekend, we'll make a kind of a score chart for all the drivers who have won, who have crashed, and have gone off the tracks. And we will have our own drivers Spinala championship and constructors Spinala championships. We literally do
You know,
this and
yeah, that would be amazing.
consider FP1, FP2, FP3, quali, and race. Let's see who wins this crown, man. So, ladies and
You
gentlemen,
know,
keep your eye out for Nation Formula One Binala Championships.
I'm gonna predict it right now. Haas is gonna win the constructor championship and the drivers championship in this year.
So watch this space, ladies and gentlemen. And now moving on to our current race. And next event was a bit heartbreak for all new Sergio Perez fan. The guy received a
Yeah.
penalty. Yeah, exactly.
Just the safety car started and he spun. He didn't spun. He just got out of the track a little bit. Yeah, went off the track and Charles Leclerc and I think
Norris.
Ricardo
No,
Norris. Yeah, Norris.
not Norris.
Ricardo, I think.
He
No,
was
it was Gasly, I think.
he was P4
Gasly,
and it was
Gasly and
Gasly. He was
Gasly and
yeah,
Leclerc. They are to the
Gasly and Leclerc. Yeah.
forward side.
So they both overtook him and he took that position back.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. He has to wait for it. He
actually
has to gain that position after the safety car, and he took that chance of taking it back. And because of that, he got that 10 second of stop and go penalty.
right.
But they managed it quite well. They didn't. It didn't do anything wrong to him.
Actually, the thing
He
is,
still was at P4 at
Sergio
the end.
Perez went off the track. Two cars overtook him, and they actually slowed down. Actually, so I think that I don't know that Sergio Perez thought because in under normal circumstances, say in formation lab, if this something like this happens, you are entitled to take your position back. And if you are in a race, there is an adrenaline rush. So I think Sergio Perez, an experienced driver such as Sergio Perez, could make a mistake than anyone could have done in given
Yeah,
in this
but
scenario.
I think it's you are only supposed to take that action if your team tells you to do. Every time we have seen that it's not the first time that somebody has overtook someone
Under
in the safety car and then yeah under the safety car and then the other one took that position back. But that only happened when team tells the driver over radio that go take your position back. It was a mistake from the other driver.
Mhm.
Go take your position back. Red Bull didn't say it anything to Sergio Perez that you have to take.
I guess even
Sorry,
they were having a hard time processing that Sergio Perez could do such a big mistake.
I don't know if they were even thinking about that it was a mistake or not because after doing that they didn't contacted Sergio Perez by saying that you did that we might face a penalty for something like that. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, because
he
FIA
they
quick enough
never had a conversation like that.
because FIA was quick enough slamming a 10-second penalty, so there wasn't much to talk about.
Yeah, on the next lap he got the penalty, but still it was quite
No, but Vanshil, this was a
lazy.
Question to
mistake.
you, Paaji, my question to you, according to rule book, if Sergio Perez had given those two positions back, say to Gasly and Charles Leclerc, was it possible that FIA wouldn't give them a penalty and Perez didn't stop right away and he could have got both of them after the safety car restart? Is it possible?
Uh, Considering the mistake, number one, even uh, like for amateurs like us, Formula One game, a simulated game didn't allow us to overtake in such sort of situation. If the safety car is out,
Mhm.
even an augmented reality game didn't allow us to get down to or to regain the position. So number one, that was a huge mistake. Number two, on to general basis, they have a 15-second sort of a time that you can regain the position although although the situation can be different. For example, if you have cut the corner and gained the position, you have to return the position within 15 seconds.
Mhm.
So these sort of situations are there. But for the question what you have asked, I need to look onto it whether and according to me, I don't think they would have allowed, because this sort of mistake is generally not acceptable, because even if an augmented reality game is not allowing you, then real game
Paaji,
should not.
that's why exactly my point that Red Bull didn't contacted Sergio Perez saying that please give their position back. If we get
Exactly.
anything from FIA or race control, that let Sergio Perez back in the P4 or at the time he was in P4, I think. So let him back on his previous position, and then you can go back to your previous position. That's what my point was. That Red Bull's reaction was too lazy at that time.
Yeah, they
They
are.
are quick enough to they're quick enough in the pit stop, but the radio contacts are very lazy enough in these days. They are not quite well on their radio contacts.
Exactly. And following this,
Might be
sorry, Paji, you were saying?
might be an issue, like a misunderstanding or somewhat. We can't say, we can't predict.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
we can say anything. Yeah, but it was quite hard for Perez to
Yeah.
I
finally getting something there and then getting a penalty.
I guess once Helmut Marko has some spare time looking into Verstappen's lap time and judging that he's still 2 tenths quicker than everybody else on the grid, Red Bull will sort those communication errors. So, regardless, moving on. After this, we saw a big kind of a train behind Pierre Gasly, who was still on wets. I don't know why AlphaTauri didn't switch to Inters, and even people were thinking about dry and strategy about dry tires, and this guy was still on wets with such a big train behind him. Imola is
But
such a.
yeah, Vanshil, they have some certain sort of rules to, for say, if you are using a soft tires, then the pit window opening for those soft tires would be after lap 15.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For those 15 laps, you have to deal with the tires only.
Right.
You have to deal with those tires only.
Mhm.
After that, the pit window opens for one stop or two stop go strategies. If you are choosing for one stop, 15 to 25. If you are choosing for two stops, 10 to 15 or whatsoever. They have some sort of rules, preset rules,
Right.
what they have to follow. So I'm considering why it didn't shift from wets to intermediates would be this reason only.
Right.
And generally teams are up for one stop strategy. So yeah, that had to be done
But
within the desired lap times
yeah,
only.
but even at the time when Ocon changed his tire from wet to intermediate, Gasly was still on wet.
That's my
So
point. The pit window for
as a
was open.
pit
And
window was open. It wasn't like that they have to continue their wet tires uh, compulsory. It wasn't mandatory for them. Ocon was changing his tire. He was seeing that the car is struggling in the wet tires and the condition is going dry. So wet tire isn't the perfect tire for the track condition right now. So he changed from wet to intermediate. While AlphaTauri wasn't calling Pierre Gasly in the pit lane. He was struggling. You
But
can
we are talking
clearly
about the same team, Akshat, but we are talking about same team who are saying that they are expecting the rain within 10 to 15 laps.
actually,
So
that's my point is
might,
that's my
might
point is ke,
be a future strategy. Might be a future strategy.
but
actually, they were
they what
confident since their factory is just a couple of miles away. So they were like, we are locals here. We know what the weather is gonna do. It will rain, and our strategy is perfect. So that
yeah, but their strategy took their points away literally.
Yeah.
Pierre Gasly was losing places
he was 8 seconds
one
left.
after one after one,
He was
and
eight
it
seconds.
was because yeah, exactly, and it was because of that those wet tires. If he would have switched to the intermediate tire earlier, like Ocon did, he might have stayed in the 10, from in between those 10 numbers position.
Exactly. I mean, Gasly was in fine form whole weekend. In fact, both the Alpha Tauris were pretty good the whole weekend. If Yuki Tsunoda hadn't crashed in qualifying, he would have much further up the order, and Alpha Tauri would be, even running double points given the incidents which occurred in the race. So, this brings me to the next point, the Sebastian Vettel's penalty. So, incidents like this would have given Alpha Tauri a good chance, but due to some bad luck and bad decisions, they ruined it. So, Sebastian Vettel's 10-second stop go penalty because he didn't had tires on his car 5 minutes prior to the start of the race. So, this was the reason he got the penalty. So, what are your thoughts on this, guys?
As we started out this podcast, the very first point was Aston Martin wasn't good in the brakes this year, within this weekend. So let's hope it gets correct. At the end of the day, these are machines.
I mean, there are some serious issues with Aston Martin's performance. In Bahrain, it was mainly due to the raw race pace, or should we say tire performance. Come Imola, I was expecting some major improvements, but in turn, they were facing brake issues and whatnot. Sebastian Vettel wasn't 100% with his car, and Stroll did pretty decent given the condition in which Aston Martin is currently right now, scoring points versus his so experienced teammate who would eventually go into the pits during last laps. So eventually, Stroll is uh, doing much better at Aston Martin, but this penalty and again Sebastian Vettel starting from pit lane was way too hard on. Your thoughts, Akshat?
Sebastian Vettel starting from the pit lane was, for all of us, it was a heartbreaking moment. Again, he wants to prove that he can do it, but still he's facing a lot of technical issues. Still trying to, as I said, he's still trying to be comfortable in his new car, trying to adjust into new environment, and still trying to win the races and all things. So he's gonna get adjusted in this situations. He's gonna win probably. I think he's gonna score point probably in the next race. I hope, but I think it will happen. Right now, what he needs to do is just calm down a little bit, try to go and more try to adjust himself to the new environment and everything, because try to talk to the engineers as well,
Mhm.
because it plays a good part in the drivers when they are driving on a track. If they know about the car situation and everything, they might understand that what they want to do next. What might happen next, what they can do to overcome these difficulties and everything. So I think every driver should do that. Every driver should go talk to the engineers,
Mhm.
meet the engineering team, and try to understand how the car works and how they are facing the difficulties. Every week, even if the braking ducts difficulties, steering wheels difficulty, the way the Perez faced steering wheel was moving in its own. They changed the steering wheel at when he was doing that 10-second stop and go penalty
Right.
after that. So yeah, so this kind of thing, they might, I'm not saying that it won't happen, but they might be able to
Figure
get
out.
an idea to how, yeah,
Right.
get an idea to how to get up to it, and still score some points rather than just, I would say that in the final result, they didn't say that Sebastian Vettel did not finish the race. It
Mhm.
wasn't DNF. It showed that plus 2 lap of gap.
Flag was fallen and he was a lap behind, so
Yeah, he was left behind and he
it
get
makes
into the pit, and
more stress on
yeah,
the.
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I would say that he will win. He'll score the point, but he just needs to be get comfortable with the car first.
A couple of more races since we see Sebastian in full glory. But following
Yeah.
this, following this, the biggest incident of the race, Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and George Russell. Bottas and Russell crashing out hard, and Lewis Hamilton going off the track big time, bringing out the red flags. it was chaos all around. I mean, what on earth just happened?
In just a
Paaji,
single lap,
please go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. In just a single lap, all Mercedes contending drivers were out. Heartbreaking, obviously. We saw Lewis Hamilton making a mistake like after years, I guess,
2020 was
because
accident free.
last time when I saw him, that was back in 2018 when he chose to get down to soft when the weather condition was wet in Germany.
2019, Germany 2019,
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Either 2018 or 19.
19.
So yeah, so that was the time I guess I saw him making a mistake and similar sort of mistake over here as well. Getting down some sleeks into water and not getting enough grip. But kudos to this driver, keeping the engine stuck, keeping the engine in running condition, shifting down to reverse, revving smoothly to the car and taking back to the ground. Amazing, seriously. Most people can't do it.
How lucky is Lewis Hamilton? Whenever there is a major incident
How
happening
lucky
in the
is he?
track,
How lucky is he? At the very first race, at the very first corner, he loses a debris from his front wing.
yeah, that was
Red
a
flag
major
session.
red piece.
The session was taken down as a safety car issue. Then when he got down to breaking his front wing totally, the session was totally red flag. Lucky guy, obviously.
I mean, he's way too lucky. He's way too lucky. And cherry on the cake, Bottas had crashed behind him, and there was some very hard gesturing between George Russell and Valtteri
Yeah,
Bottas. I mean, that would draw some attention. What are your thoughts on it, Akshat?
they were both blaming each other. We heard their radios, and I'd say that more on the mistake side is, whose mistake is this is we are not going to say whose mistake was that, but I think Bottas was not on the fault this time. It was driver's instinct. When someone is overtaking, they are gonna on the right side. This is driver's instinct. We saw it when Lewis Hamilton was overtaking Lando Norris. Lewis Hamilton tried to overtake Lando Norris three
But
times.
still,
On
but
the
still,
third time, he
Lando
yeah,
Norris
I know
was with
I know you were gonna say that he left
enough space.
cars,
Enough space.
yeah, enough space for. So if you just go and check the recap, George Russell has had enough space to take the overtake and go in front of Bottas. But what he did was, as a safety precaution, he just got a little bit out of the track. As a safety precaution, because he saw Bottas going in the right on the right side, he thought Bottas gonna go more on the right side, and as a safety precaution, he got on the grass, and that's why he lose the grip on the track, and that's why he hit the Bottas. I wouldn't say any of them was on in the fault. They both tried to do what their instincts said to them, what they were supposed to do as a driver,
Mhm.
but at the end, it was just a a big accident, quite unfortunate accident.
Both of them
We
have
can't say,
both of them have been bad boys here, and FIA are going to give some stick to both of them. And even
yeah, in a
I even think that not if not Bottas, George Russell is most likely to get a reprimand from FIA the way he slapped Bottas's visor. I mean,
I'm not gonna say that he's gonna get a reprimand, because Toto Wolff gonna talk to them both,
both of them.
that yeah, he is gonna talk to them, and they're gonna just reveal it that it was just a friendly banter, nothing else.
I mean,
It was just they were talking,
Toto,
because
Toto Wolff
you
would
see
turn
the
to
replay.
George Russell and say, "Do you want the Mercedes seat or not? Stop doing this."
Yeah, talking about Mercedes seat, after the incident, I've been seeing many tweets saying that if next year George Russell gets Valtteri Bottas' seat, then this Drive to Survivor episode is gonna be a magical.
They'll claim
Many
it as
people have,
episode number 10.
yeah, it's
Drama
so
with the Mercedes.
I'm I'm gonna be on Bottas' side this time. He is still underrated driver. People are still trolling him for not, still being wingman of Lewis Hamilton, and can't, and sorry, yeah, exactly, can't able to win any race from Lewis Hamilton, but he has the potential. He just don't know yet that how to do it. I still feel that even after so many years, Bottas is still trying to figure out that how I take this Mercedes to that first place.
I can say I badly miss Nico Rosberg. I mean, those were the times.
But I won't be surprised if the next year Valtteri Bottas loses his seat and goes to reserve driver, and George Russell gets the Mercedes seat, because he's gonna be more competitive to Lewis Hamilton than Valtteri Bottas is right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So moving on after this incident, both Yuki Tsunoda and, to everybody's shock, Sergio Perez went off. Both of these guys were doing so good. Yuki coming
Yeah.
all the way from P19 to such a good place, almost scoring points. And Sergio Perez throwing away P4. I mean, it couldn't be any worse.
Yeah, exactly. What exactly happened? What happened with Lewis Hamilton when he got off the track, and then exactly after that red flag. Yeah, so I was saying that we saw what happened with Lewis Hamilton. He took the wet place on the track and he got out of the track. Same thing happened with both of them, Perez and Yuki Tsunoda. They both were
Yeah.
trying to push the car too much. They were eager to get in front of the other cars and get that. Perez was trying to get the podium position. Yuki Tsunoda was trying to get in the points as much as he can, and they both made a mistake on going on the wet surface of the track, and they both got off because of that. So it's just an unfortunate incident.
Mhm.
Again, they were they were doing great. They were performing very great. So I
Yeah.
hope they don't make the same mistakes again and again. Just hold their horses. Try to calm down like Lewis Hamilton did till the end. How he
I mean, the Red Bull second seat curse have been finally lifted as Sergio Perez has
Yeah,
out qualified Max
exactly.
Verstappen. So that
Amazing.
curse has been lifted.
Like this.
And I just want to add one point when we are saying out qualifying things. Finally, Latifi out qualified
No, I don't believe that. I
George
don't
Russell
believe that at all because that
on
was in Q1.
in the qualifying.
That was in Q1, man. That doesn't count.
No issues, no issue. But that was phenomenal, man.
Man,
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
that
That blew a
was,
lot of minds.
he was in
Yeah,
top
yeah.
That blew a
10.
lot of minds.
He was in top 10. Latifi went to top 10.
Exactly. I mean,
I mean,
the way Williams and Ferrari are performing, I think in 2022 they're gonna be a contender championship. They might they might get their reputation back. The Williams and the Ferrari. They can
Yeah.
be that again.
But Tifosi is gaining. Seriously.
that
Yeah.
would be
Performance.
so.
This weekend performance was amazing. Seriously.
And
P4 and P5, kudos.
yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
it. I got it. All right.
So
Yeah. So moving forward.
this brings us to the final lap battles between both the Ferraris, Lewis Hamilton, and Lando Norris. Man, that was awesome.
McLaren put a gamble by going on a softs. They said we want the podium position. Lando had an amazing pace throughout the week,
He got
whole
lucky.
weekend.
He got lucky
Amazing.
on this.
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah, exactly. So they thought that if Lando could able to manage those soft tires till the end,
Mhm.
will Lando will be on the podium position, and that happened. So and those that competition for P2 was amazing. Seeing those both Ferrari finally giving competition to other drivers is an amazing
Seriously.
thing.
Seriously. Seriously.
I mean, that was sight to behold. When Science was pretty easy catch, but when he was battling Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris, even the fact that Lando Norris managed to hold Lewis Hamilton for a couple of laps, you know,
Exactly.
a beast like
That
Mercedes.
was amazing. Seriously, that was
You know,
amazing.
we have seen Lando Norris defend his position for from 2019. You know, he's quite an amazing driver when it comes to defending his position. He would never let anybody overtake easily.
Yeah.
And even if today they would have, took a bigger gamble than just putting him on the softs for the speed, they would have put him on the mediums and said him that now we have to push the car and we need that podium position from you.
Yeah.
I'm saying guaranteed that Lewis Hamilton wouldn't be able to overtook Lando Norris on that lap. And the gap between Lando Norris and Verstappen would have been much more closer than the gap was
Exactly.
last lap. In the last lap, it was around 20 seconds of gap. And if he was on the medium, and then the gap would have been on in the 10 seconds. I think.
Exactly.
So Lando Norris is doing quite well, and after seeing Lando Norris performing like this, I'm remembering 2007, 2008 McLaren team. The way Lewis Hamilton was performing in that McLaren, the same way Lando Norris is performing right now. And if he keeps performing, we might see 2022 championship goes to Lando Norris. He might emerge
For that.
as the new champion.
I'll be very
Yeah.
happy with it.
So yeah, exactly. So we are after this race, we are seeing that those big names are finally emerging. They're finally saying that we are still in the competition from the start of the Formula One till the end. We are gonna be in the competition. So don't forget that. Those three names are Ferrari, Williams, and McLaren. And I
Yeah.
hope that in 2022 we see those big names in the championship fight. So it would be amazing.
Amazing. Amazing.
Exactly, man. And until 2022 season, before the big regulation changes, the races like this happen every race weekend. The race is
Yeah.
full of entertainment. Bahrain was good. This was one step better. So let's
And, today Formula One announced new track, Miami.
right.
Yeah,
Miami.
yeah.
That's
Finally,
all that
they finally did a 10 years of contract with Miami. So we're gonna see Miami in 2022 as well.
Seriously.
hopefully, man.
Amazing. We have seen Florida.
So for this season, let's hope Ferrari continue this form. There are more challenges from McLaren and all the midfield, all the underdogs of the championship. So all in all, I think Imola was a good race, very entertaining, very eventful. So let's hope that we receive more racing, more intense racing like this all throughout
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
calendar season, so that we have more and more memes, banter, and review.
yeah,
Nation Formula One
yeah.
podcast on the pit
Few
lane.
podium
So
changes.
yeah,
Few podium changes.
Few podium
yeah,
changes.
New three faces, I guess. That would be correct.
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So I hope you have
yeah,
enjoyed this episode, and if you did, consider subscribing to this channel and our podcast.
yeah.
Give a thumbs up to this
Thank
video.
you for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe our channel, Nation Formula One. Follow us on Instagram for more updates. We have been quite, not updated on the Instagram right now. Yeah, but we're gonna get back on Instagram in few days. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram as well. So yeah, have a great day, have a
Peace.
great weekend, and yeah, peace out.
Peace out, guys. See
See you
you
then.
soon.
Bye.